Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be making a light system that consists out of a light switch, a light source, and a light trigger that allows you to make events such as turning on and off lights. And also I explain to you how you can expand the system to make flickering lights and much more effect. So how this works is this will act like a sensor. So let's say you collide with it, it turns off the lights. When you collide with it again, it turns on the lights. You can control the lights with these switches. You can also link multiple switches to one light source. So let's say you have these two switches, so on and off. You go back to the other one and you can turn off again. And yeah, in this video I'll show you how to make it. So let's get started. Alright, let's get started. To start off with the light system, we're going to make a new structure here for the blueprints. I'm going to go to blueprints, right click, new folder. This is going to be lights. Then we're going to pre-make what we're going to be making in this video, which is the light switch, which is type actor. Name BP underscore lights underscore base. And this will be the light switch, which is, oh, that's a folder. Delete that real quick. And a new actor, BP underscore, let's call it light switch. Alright, now let's get back. And on blueprints, there should be a folder called interfaces. I'm going to make a new interface called BPI underscore lights. This will be for controlling the lights. While I'm doing this in a interface, I'll show you later, which will allows us to easily manipulate single or more lights with events, for example. So the first that we're going to make is light turn on lights. The second one will be turn off lights. And then as a third one, this will be called cycle lights. And now let's back into the blueprints folder for the lights. And we're going to start with the lights base, which will be the actual light source. So what we're going to be adding first, we're going to build it here. I'm going to add a static mesh, which will be the light base, just like the light mesh. You can call it whatever you want. And then we're going to add a new static mesh. This will be the bulb, which will going to be emit some light. And we're going to add a spotlight, like so. Perfect. So yeah, for these systems, it's really the best way that you can build them in the details panel. So to start off with that, we're going to build it in the construction script first, and then we're going to add the logic. So to start off, we're going to drag this out, and then we'll do a sequence. Since there will be multiple things we're going to be controlling. To start off, we want to have a way to set the mesh, which we're going to drag out light base and then set static mesh, like so. Gonna move it a bit up here, and this we're going to make into a variable, which is the static, just call it the light mesh. We're going to make it instant editable and attach it here. Then we want a way to place our light mesh, because we have more than one thing. So let's say I drag it in the scene. You're going to move everything at once, but let's say you want to only move the light mesh and keep the spotlight in the same position. You need to go here and then move it individually, which is, if you forget or if you forget it, you can have problems with moving your light mesh and that your spotlight moves with it, and you can have a lot of problems if you forget to select them. So the easiest way to do is we want to get a light base here and set a relative location, like so. And then for the new location, we're going to make a new variable called light base location, and also a instant editable. And then for the scale, once more, we're going to grab light base and then set relative scale 3D. So there's two ways you can do this. You can either make a variable out of this, or you use a float, and then, so let's say I want to have all axes at the same time. Let's say you just want to scale all 3 axes. You can just make a light mesh scale. You can just grab a float, and then it converts like so. So you can just make this number bigger or smaller, and it it scales on all axes at the same time, instead of just doing each one individually. I personally like this better. I never scale them in other ways and just like as a whole. So that's why I prefer it like that. So also we're going to structurize these because we're going to be add more settings here. So this will be just general mesh settings. So on category, we call this mesh settings. And we're going to add these all here. Mesh settings. All right. Perfect. Now the second one will be the spotlight settings. So we can manipulate the spotlight settings all from the same actor details panel. So to start off, I want to set the attenuation radius. Attach it here, like so. I'm going to drag out once more. This will be set inner cone angle. Move it a bit down here. I'll reroute. This is set outer cone angle. And another one, set light color. So we can set the color of the spotlight that's active. So for this one, I'm going to make it promote into a variable. And we're going to call it attenuation radius. So, and the same for all these. Just drag out, promote the variable, inner cone angle. And another one, promote the variable, outer cone angle. Perfect. And this will be light color. I do want to set these as a default settings. So for the attenuation radius, I'm going to set 1000. Inner cone, which will be, I think we can just leave it at 0. We don't use that for now. Outer cone will be 44. And then for the light color, I'm going to make a bit of a yellowy tone to it. Let me see, I did have a nice color saved here. So let me apply it here so I can get the perfect match, like so. Perfect. And then another one which will be controlling the lights, so we can have the light on or off, depending if you start that the light's already on or that you need to turn on with a light switch. So for that, I'm going to make a new variable. B is light on, which will be of type Boolean. And also let me quickly move these also into a mesh, which will be light settings for all the spotlight settings, so it's easy to find those light settings. Don't forget to make them instance editable, otherwise you're not able to directly edit them. Perfect. And now the last variable here is the intensity, which will be the intensity for the spotlight itself, which I think like a default just use 1000 for now. We can change it later. So what you want to do is grab B is light on, then select, and then it's a select float. So if it's true, we're going to remake this. So it's pick A if it's true. So what you want to do is grab intensity, and then on B. So when it's when the light is on, it will pick A, which is the 1000 intensity. If it's B, so 0, intensity will be 0. and then drag out here, and then set wait, let me grab the spotlights first, and then set intensity like so. So when the light is on, it will go to A, which is 1000. Otherwise, it will be, the light will just be off. Perfect. Now let's go into the event graph. Well, let's test the actual situation here to see if it works or not. So let me grab my light mesh. It seems to be not setting here. Oh, I just noticed that my scale is on 0. So that's why my light was not showing. And as you can see, it's not aligned properly, probably due to my mesh being, my axis not aligned correctly. So let me change that as well. So what we're going to do is going to go to the base construction script, and then for this one as well, grab lights base, set relative rotation. And I'm going to say light base rotation instant editable. Same for these ones as well. This should be in mesh settings. So now we can go down and we should be able to change the rotation. It's this one, which should be around 90. It should be 0. Perfect. Now you can see that my spotlight is all the way at the top and my mesh is down here. So that's why you want to have a way to move it up or down. So what you can do for the light location, we're going to find the up, which should be this one. It's left, say 10, 50. Oh, it's other direction. It should be this one. This is down, this is up, and we can position it so it aligns properly with the spotlight like so, which is around -40. Okay. Now we can just move it up to the ceiling so it's attached like so. But you can see there's no light active, at least it shouldn't be active. And then when you turn it on, you can see there's light here. It's maybe hard to see, so let me make it 2000. You can see so now it's on, now it's off. So which is a nice way to build your lights in the scene quickly. Perfect. So now let's get back to the event graph here. Now we've set up the light building. Remove all these. And now we're going to make, we're going to add the interface first, which is BPI lights. And then we should have all these things. So we have cycle lights, turn on and turn off. But we're going to start off with the cycling. So what the cycling does, it's pretty much what we're going to be calling on the switch. So let's say you interact with the switch. It then calls this event, which checks if this light is either on or off. So we're going to branch in like so. And then if it's true, we want to call turn off lights. So which means if the light is on, you want to turn it off. And when it's off, you want to turn lights on. Perfect. So move these down a bit. So for the lights off, what we're going to do, we're going to call spotlight here, set intensity. And for the intensity, we're going to set 0. And then for the turn lights on, which is this one, we want to set the intensity that we've just made for this specific light, which will be 1000, and in this case will be 2000. So perfect. Also, we do want to have a bulb here. So let me quickly add it here, which is bulb. Perfect. So the bulb should have two materials. I can show you right here. So if you go to materials, lights, I made two materials, just a normal bulb and then a on, so it has an emissive. So it's a nice thing to add. So to make that work, we're going to go back to the event graph, and then we're going to grab the bulb, not light, space, bulb. And then we're going to say create dynamic material instance. And for this should be bulb on. Then we're going to copy it here, which is just bulb. And then you have index, element index. If you don't know which one you need, if you go to the material or to go to your mesh right here, bulb, then you see element index 0. Let's say you have a bulb that consists out of 2 elements. Check which one you want to have emissive. So if it's the element 1 or 0, change it depending on your own setup. But for mine, it's just element 0 since I don't have any other materials that I change. Perfect. And then after these, you want to set if the light's on or off. So when you want to turn it on, it's on, have it off. And when it's on, you set it to true. Otherwise, it should be false. Perfect. So this is pretty much everything you need for this slide. Let me add this. I can probably leave on top since this will be the most used thing here. Perfect. Let me save this. And now let's go to the light switch, which will consist out of one mesh, which will be the light switch. All right, and let's jump straight into the construction script as well, since we also want to control that you can attach lights to the switch. So let's add a variable for it, which is b is light on, same as we have in the lights. And then another one which will be lights to interact or lights to control. So this will be the lights that we're going to be controlling with this specific switch, which will be of type lights base, since I'm only going to be controlling these lights. Lights base, which is this. And I'm going to make it an array, which means I can have more than one light that I can control with the switch. So also add my interaction interface like so. And then on interact, I want to play a sound at the location of the switch. And for actor location, get actor location for light to play. And then for my, let's play dialogue at location. Play sound at location. Perfect. And then this will be a light switch. Q, no. Light switch. That's the wrong one. Should have already made one. Let me see where it is. Q's, which will be light switch. Perfect. This is it. And then for this one, we're going to drag lights to interact. Do a for each loop. So we're going to loop through every single light that we have, and then use the cycle lights. Should be the message, cycle lights message. So we're going to loop through each single one and then change the light for that specific one. Why I'm using interface for it, I'll show you in a bit. So now let's make the construction script. I'm going to branch out to see if the switch should be on or off. And then we're going to copy this like so. True. And then on when the light should be on, we're going to call turn lights on. And this turn lights off. Perfect. All right, perfect. So now we can test the setup already. I'm going to add a quick cube so I can actually interact with it. Perfect. Now let's add it. So this light is off, so you can just turn the light on and off depending on the individual light settings. But let's say you want to use the light switch to do it, and it's now off, as you can see, and I add it, it automatically turns it off and on. So let's say I add another light, like so. I'm going to turn this on, and I also add it to the switch array. You can now control both these lights with the switch. And it's also good for a state. Let's say you have another switch and you want to attach this to. You can control them so that most houses, for example, have 2 light switches. Let's say you go up the stairs, there's a light switch on top and a light switch at the bottom. Doesn't matter which one you press, they will also track each other. So let's say I play this game. It's on and off. And I go to this one. It just keeps track, and the lights keeps track on themselves based if they're on and off. And you can use them with the light switches to control all of them. But most of the logic will be in the lights itself. So the light tells itself I'm either on or off instead of the switch keeping track of that. Perfect. So it's a fairly simple setup, and you can see it's not positioned correctly as of now. But let's say I interact with it. It's just turned into the normal off material. And why I used interface for this, you can make events with it. So let's say, let me quickly build an example for you guys. So let's say make an actor. This is BP light trigger. What you can do with this is you can add a collision box, or a box collision, like so. Right click, add event on component begin overlap. I'm gonna get player character. And then you want to check if the characters overlapping. Let's say you have an AI in the scene. You want to check if it's the character or the AI, depending on your setup, of course. And what you can do with this is you can just fire cycle and then attach the lights that you want to use for. So what you can do easily, you can just go to light switch. You can copy this and then make this into a variable, make it instant editable. And then you can either use cycle, so the lights turn on and off based on the current state, or you can say turn off lights, like so. And then you can drag it in here, light trigger, make it a bit bigger, like so. And then if we play, oh, let me first attach the lights, like so. Perfect. So let's say you walk through this, the lights turn off, and yeah, this is an easy way to also make flicker events. Let's say you can make a new event that you can make a light flicker or turn them on and off. You can have it make like light sensors. Let's say you walk into the room, you can just use the cycle event so the lights turn on and off based on their current state, which allows you to easily make events, control lights, either with the light switches or just the ceiling lights. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I do want to make another episode for this, or another part, which allows us to make breaker system and also make a more editable light source, which you can swap between a spotlight, point light, or a rec light. So you can easily build all your lights with just one blueprint. So stay tuned for that. I will clean this project up a bit more with some better meshes and setup, so you can get this project for yourself or follow along with the previous versions. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and see you on the next one.